Hey, it's Lefty. We're getting to the video a little bit later than what I wanted to this week, but we're here. So last week we went 2-0, and last week is actually similar to this week. So we got last week we had a guy going up from 122 to 126 and then 130. So he was in his third weight division. His hand placement wasn't great. He got clipped with a left hook. I said last week that he gets hit, but I wasn't sure if the guy that he was facing was going to be able to finish the job. That's pretty much verbatim what I said. And we ended up taking a victory home and winning some money. So, you can't complain about that. This week we have Ray Vargas, and O'Shaquie Foster. Before this week, I didn't know too much about Foster. I just knew that he came out at plus 170 to start, which means if you bet $100, you're bringing back 170 in profit for a 270 win altogether. That's what plus 170 is when you see those odds. However, the more I looked at Foster, the more I liked it. Before I started doing my research and watching tape, I was favoring Vargas by decision. However, the more I seen of Foster, the more I thought Vargas just isn't going to be able to, like, if the fight is scored fair and Foster fights the way that I've seen him fight, Foster should be winning a decision or by late TKO. I'm thinking rounds, 9, 10, 11, 12, something like that. The reason for that is because, like Neverready last week, Vargas's hand placement and his combinations is not good. I wanted to provide some examples, but I got caught up this week, and I can't really show it on tape. However, I'll do a review, and I'll come out with another video for a review after the fact and show you what I was seeing. However, Vargas, when he's throwing his combinations, his hands don't go back up to where they were. That's because he is, let me look for it. He's coming up from 122, and his last fight, he fought a guy named Magsayo at 126, and then right away he's coming up to 130. Now, the reason for his hand placement is he's huge for, the 122-pound division, right? He's used to being safe at a certain distance that he can operate. So he never developed his hand placement, which is important because the higher you move up in weight, the bigger the guys you're going to fight, which is his problem here. Vargas is used to being safe at a certain distance to where he's not going to be as safe tonight. Matter of fact, he's facing the bigger guy. So he's coming up in weight to face the bigger guy in his original weight division. This dude has been at 130 his whole career, has a deep amateur background, and is just about 5'9" with a 72-inch reach. Do you know who else is about 5'9" with a 72-inch reach? Errol Spence. And he's at welterweight. Now, I'm not saying that Foster is Spence. I'm saying the physical dimensions are, he's basically sparring. Foster is basically sparring and is the same size of some welterweights. If you look at his back and his shoulders and his top half, he looks like a 140-pounder, but he's at 130. But he's got boxing ability. His style on his bottom half, right, is similar to the guy I was talking about last week. I forgot his name. But the guy, he's got a wide stance at times. When he's in the middle of the ring, he's got a wide stance, and he looks to jab He's similar to Barboza from last week with his lower half. He has foot feints, he tries a jab, and he throws quick 1-2s, and sometimes he doesn't pivot when he needs to. However, when he's closer to the ropes, his stance shortens, his legs get closer together, and he's able to pivot and walk you into a counter, whether it's a right hand or a check hook. A check hook is basically a left hook counter punch where you commit to a shot and the check hook is there. It's a left hook and you pivot out from that hook, okay? On your left foot, going to your left. And Foster has that. Another dimension to his game is he switches stances a lot. So he's been watching a lot of Terrence Crawford, and he's pretty good at it. And it's almost like once he figures out what works, then that's going to be what he does throughout the fight. If he thinks that he has you as a southpaw, he's going to fight southpaw most of the fight. He could fight southpaw, he could fight orthodox. There's a lot of dimensions to his game that I just don't see from Vargas. And as I was watching tape later and later in the week, the betting line started to move. And it went from plus 170 to plus 120, which makes it pretty much, like Foster's still a slight underdog, but it makes it almost an even fight. So in order to get those plus 170 odds, I put money on Barrios at minus 500 straight up. And that made it like plus 165, which I can live with, right? I should have put money when it was at plus 170, but I just didn't know enough about Foster yet when that line was presented to me, right? And then everybody started watching tape at the same time, and I guess we all saw the same thing. So what I would look for in this fight is Vargas to get counterpunched mid-combination, and Foster likes to box early. And once he figures you out, the second half of the fight, he's going to look to dog you. Okay, which means he's going to try to bring the fight. He's going to try to front foot you. Okay, I think that happens around round 6, 7, 8. And then Vargas's hand placement, because he feels like he should be safe at certain distances, he's not going to be safe there. It just is what it is. And I'm not saying Vargas is a bad fighter. He's 35, 36-0 or whatever. It's just sometimes you need to work on your whole game, right? You're cutting a massive amount of weight to get down to 122 and 126, and you're basically, you're cheating the system, right? You're for the same reasons that Navarrete got caught last week, right? I expect similar things to happen this week. The only negative that I could see in this fight is Foster has fought one time in the last 20 months or 24 months or something like that. So right around COVID, like everyone else, he was inactive, but he had chances to fight, he just didn't. I don't know how that affected his weight cut. He's only been 12 rounds one time, and that was his last fight, I believe. Ray Vargas has been 12 rounds a bunch of times, at least half a dozen, and a lot lately. If I was Vargas, I would step on the gas early, nail Foster with some body shots. Vargas throws great body shots. He gets a lot of leverage on him. However, his hands don't come back to his face after he throws those body shots. So there's an element of danger there. I think Vargas is going to have to dig deep to try to win. Another factor is that the Texas judging and the Texas commission sucks. It sucks donkey balls. Texas is terrible. So, however, Foster is a local guy. He lives like within an hour of where they're fighting. They're fighting at the Alamo Dome. And Vargas is a Mexican fighting in Texas, which you basically, they're both hometown fighters as far as I'm concerned. So we'll see how that works out. Now, let's see some particulars. Vargas is 5'70", or 5'7" with a 70-inch reach. Foster is about 5'8.5", 72. He's probably closer to 5'9". He's a beast. Vargas has been fading late in fights too. So if he presses the fight early, he might not have gas in the tank the last third of the fight. That's why I'm kind of on the fence about a TKO late for Foster, but we'll see. Magsayo, who is 5'6", if you want to go back, Foster's last fight that he fought, he was fighting against someone off the Eastern Bloc. I don't know if he was Russian or whatever, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, but look on BoxRec. The guy that he fought was 5'6", the same size as Magsayo, who fought Vargas earlier. And Magsayo was catching him the last half of that fight. I mean, he was catching him throughout the fight, but the last like 3-4 rounds, Magsayo was catching him, and it was because Vargas's feet were getting tired and he couldn't get out of the way. Now, if a 5'6" Magsayo could catch you, I would say a 5'9" Foster could bully you and knock you out. However, I'm just betting Foster straight up with Barrios on the co-feature. So that's my picks for boxing. For UFC, let me pull it up. Now for UFC, I'm just going to keep it basic. Usually I do all kinds of parlays and stuff, but for the sake of the channel, my picks for UFC are very basic. It's just about even odds. You're paying a little bit of juice at like minus 110, minus 115, which means you have to bet 110 or 115 to get $100 back, okay? However, for the main event, I'm looking for the fight to start round 3. So my pick is not to pick a winner, even though Volkanovski at plus 300 odds is pretty tempting. But I'm looking for the fight to start round 3 and Jack Della Maddalena to beat Randy Brown. That price is minus 112, okay? So typically in main events, and this main event tonight is crazy, right? It's a 145-pound champ facing a 155-pound champ. Pound for pound, 1 and 2 going at it. Very rare. In a fight of this magnitude, and in Australia, which is Volkanovski's home country, I'm looking for the fight to start slow. And they're going to feel each other out for the first 3 or 4 minutes, maybe the whole first round. That means that we just need the fight to go 5 more minutes to start round 3. And if we could pair that with Jack Della Maddalena he's a minus 3-something favorite. If we could get minus, even money out of that, I think that's a good play. So those are my UFC picks. Volkanovski's been 5 rounds a bunch of times. He's got a ton of experience. Makhachev, I don't think he's going to come out blazing. So I'm looking start round 3 and JDM to take that fight for just about even money, and I think that's a smart play. So those are my picks. We're 2-0 on Lefty's Logic 2.0, I guess you could call it. And enjoy the fights. We got like 6 or 7 fights on Showtime/YouTube, and we got 13 or something fights on the UFC pay-per-view. I mean, it's gonna be a great time. So, just shout me out on the comments, and I'll answer. And just keep winning money. We're gonna go over betting concepts, because I'm gonna start talking about units betting this coming up week, and I'll tell you what a unit is. I'll tell you basically what the point of the channel is gonna be moving forward, and we'll get into some football, some basketball, even though I've been taking a bath on it lately. We're going to get into the World Baseball Classic. We're going to get into the Bears for the sake of my wife, probably get into some Tennessee Titans and cutting Ryan Tannehill. I hope they do. But anyway, have a good night. I'll see you later.